Every part of the cell is covered with a one layer. The green layer you can see on the every plant. Even in a stem, you can see this when it is young. That means it's a small plant, small seedlings or plantlets when we see, or even the bushes. We are able to see that stem are green in color. That layer is called as epidermis. The outermost, what you observe is the outermost layer of cells called as epidermis. The epidermis is usually made up of single layer of cells. In some plants living in very dry habitat, the epidermis may be thicker since protection against water loss is critical. That is a cactus, if you see, the outer covering the green layer over that every leaf, that is the epidermis, and it is thicker, so that is the water loss is prevented due to that. The entire surface of the plant has an outer covering called epidermis. So this is epidermis. The entire surface of the plant has outer covering called as epidermis. It protects all the parts of the plants when it is young. Epidermal cells on the aerial parts are covered with vaccine actually. That isn't there? No. Wax, not vaccine, it's wax. The aerial parts of the plants often secretes a waxy water resistance layer on their outer surface. This aids in protection against loss of water, mechanical injury, and invasion by parasitic fungi. Is this clear? This part? Is this part clear to you? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So here what is given this part? What is epidermis means?
Outer covering.
Outer covering of full
Covering.
outer covering of a full plant part is called as epidermis, right? So now total outer covering, just like our skin. The full outer covering, just like our body is protected by skin. The outer layer of our body is skin. Like that, the plant's outer covering is made up of epidermis. Okay. Now, in some plants, the aerial parts which are exposed to air, that is leaves, stem part. So they have the one waxy, they secretes waxy layer over them. So you see, whenever water falls on leaves, will the leaves get wet? Have you seen? Leaves got wet. Have you seen
No,
that?
ma'am.
Slide off the leaf.
What happens to that?
Will slide off the leaf.
Immediately slides off. Why it slides off? Because it is covered with a waxy coating. Due to that, the water won't stick to the surface. That is epidermis. The upper layer of that, even this one also you can consider, the leaves is made up of, that is epidermis. It is covered, often secretes a waxy water resistant layer on their outer surface. What does that do? That it helps in protection against loss of water. Due to that waxy layer, the water will not move out. So loss of water will be prevented. So it is slowly the water will evaporate, not faster. Mechanical injury, so that is any abrasions. So this will mechanically, that is wind. When the wind is blowing, that will not this will cut it out. Or invasion by parasites. So due to that waxy layer, the parasite, any microorganism is there, so that will stick to that wax, but won't enter inside. So due to that, the infection, the plant is prevented, the infection will be prevented. It's clear? So keep on underlining whatever I'm highlighting. Keep that part. You can keep on underlining that part. These are important parts. Since it has a protective role to play, cells of epidermis tissues form a continuous layer without intercellular spaces. So in between epidermal tissues, intercellular spaces are not present. Most epidermal cells are relatively flat. They are flat. So these are the structures. This is part what we have learned. Those are the functions. Now the structure. No intercellular spaces. Cells are flat cells. Often their outer and side walls are thicker than in inner walls. Inner wall, it has to protect plant. So therefore the outer edge cells are thicker walls than the inner ones. So this is the structure of epidermal tissues. So this is structure of epidermis tissue. We can observe small pores here and there in the epidermis of the leaf. These pores are called stomata. Mostly they are present, so more number of the stomata are present in the lower epidermis. Below the leaf, you can see that is there the holes have been there. Under microscope, they are visible. So below leaf, lower epidermis, the holes have been seen. So those are called stomata, which are surrounded by. Stomata are enclosed by two kidney-shaped cells called guard cells. What is the function of stomata? Stomata helps in exchange of gases as well as water. Transpiration takes place. Transpiration, what do you mean by transpiration?
In the form of water vapor from plants.
Yes, love's excess water can be evaporated out, given out, excreted out in the form of water vapor. So evaporation, transpiration is actually the evaporation, but happening naturally in the plant parts. Excess water in the plant will get evaporated out from the plant or from the leaves. That process is called as transpiration. So these stomata, the holes in the stomata, helps in this transpiration process. Even the exchange of gases during daytime, carbon dioxide moves in and oxygen moves out. Some amount of oxygen also enters, so and some amount of carbon dioxide also given out. So at the time of photosynthesis and respiration, the exchange of gases will take place. So that movement of gases is happening through stomata. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Transpiration. So they are necessary for. So what is the function of stomata? So here this is stomata part. So this is also important. What is stomata and what is the function of stomata? So stomata are the holes present in the lower epidermis. Uh, the holes are called as stomata. They are surrounded by guard cells. And what is the function of this? They helps in exchange of gases and transpiration process. Transpiration is releasing excess, evaporation of excess of water or loss of water in the form of water vapors. So that process is called as transpiration, and transpiration also takes place through stomata. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Recall which gas is required for photosynthesis?
Carbon
Carbon
dioxide.
dioxide. Find out the role of transpiration in plants. What is the transpiration do?
It releases the excess water in the plants in the
Yes,
form of water vapors.
yes, right. Transpiration excretes out excess water from the plants. Means water has been taken, but plant if don't need water, it will give out that water. So that will done with the help of transpiration process. Another thing, just now I told you transpiration is similar to evaporation. It's actually the evaporation only. So what is the function? Evaporation do? Due to evaporation, what will happen? How it is beneficial sometimes?
When we sleep,
What? Yes, tell me.
Then cooling will happen.
Cooling will take place. Yeah. So here transpiration also, due to transpiration also, cooling effect will be seen. So the plant parts get cooled down due to evaporation. In the summer season, the transpiration rate increases, due to which the cooling effect is seen. Okay. So cooling effect, due to cooling, the plants can survive in that hot temperature. Otherwise, what will happen? It will die due to more temperature. Just like we are uncomfortable with a hot climate. The same thing happened with the plants also. Plants are also not comfortable with the hot climate. So they also do something to remain healthy, to remain cooler. So that is the transpiration process. So transpiration, the water is given out. So due to which, what happens? Due to evaporation, cooling caused. So evaporation always causes cooling. So transpiration also causes cooling in the summer season in plants, which maintains the plant temperature. So they can withstand to a hot climate due to transpiration process. It's clear? And this is a reason why uh, big trees bear more leaves in summer season. So you have seen the plants generally shed off leaves in autumn, and in summer season they bear more leaves. That is for what purpose? For what purpose that is happening? Are you able to get my sound properly?
Uh,
Yes, ma'am.
it's breaking a bit.
So you log off, leave and join meeting again.
Okay, ma'am, I'll try.
Even for me, it's breaking.
So you
Even
join
for me, ma'am.
Ma'am, even for me, it's breaking.
on which network you are working on?
Ma'am, broadband.
Broadband then also. Others, are you getting my voice clearly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No breakage?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, that means who is breaking, that means their network issues then. If it is happening from my side, that means everyone will should have the problem. Okay. So here in autumn season, generally plants shed off leaves, but immediately after that they bear new plants, so new leaves. Reason is, and generally that will happen with the big trees, the long, big, tall trees. So why the same thing here also? The reason is, can you guess the reason? Tejasvi, Tejasvi, are you there? Tejasvi, and you, everyone switch on your videos. Now it will remain on for all the classes. Okay. I'll get to know how many are here and how many are not.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, I joined my PC. My camera is not there.
Okay, fine. So you keep on telling me that you are here. That's only can be that. Okay. Harshini, your video. Vishal Pranjal. Yatin, where you were last class? Aditya, are you able to hear me properly now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So here, generally trees bear more leaves. Why? Can you now tell me the reason? Yes, Daphne, can you tell?
Can you repeat the question?
Why trees in summer season generally trees bear more leaves?
Ma'am, like why they shed their leaves?
No, they start bearing more leaves in
Ma'am,
summer
because more
season.
water.
Generally, in summer season that happens.
Ma'am, because there is more transpiration process going. Yeah, more process going on, so need more water.
No, need more water. No, the leaves helps in Just now I told. Leaves helps
Okay.
in. Yes, Trishula?
Ma'am, is it because when there will be more leaves, more transpiration can take place and they'll feel cool?
Yes, evaporation causes cooling. So here generally remember these stomatas are helpful in exchange of gases as well as losing water. So the water is given out with the help of leaves only because most number of stomatas are found in leaves rather than any other place. So aerial part, the leaves are like this. They are exposed to air more as compared to stem. Stem also has holes. Stomatas are present, but more number of stomatas are present on the leafy part, and that too the lower portion of the leaf, at the lower portion. So from that, the water will moves out by taking the heat from the inner part, inner body or inner part of the plant. So now when the water is moved out, water is given out. So water is taken heat energy from the body plant. So therefore, evaporation has taken place and the temperature cooled down. So to bear that extreme heat, trees bear more leaves because more leaves means more stomata. More stomata means more transpiration. More transpiration, more cooling effect. It's clear? So that's the reason, this is the reason why plants shed their leaves in autumn and start bearing new leaves in the summer season. It's clear? Is this part
Yes,
clear to you, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now that is one of the function, that is epidermis. One is a protective layer, that's protective covering. You have seen the waxy coating, they helps in protection from the parasitic fungi or bacteria will not enter. They due to waxy layer, they will not allow the water to move out. Loss of water will be prevented. Okay. Now the next part is here. They have stomata. Epidermis consists of stomata, which helps in gaseous exchange and the transpiration process. So these are all parts of epidermis only, right? Now few more again examples have been given here. Epidermal cells of the roots whose function is water absorption. So now next one more function. Now in the epidermal cells of the roots, these are not green part, they are now brown color part. So this is in the roots also because every entire plant is made up of the outer layer of entire plant is made up of epidermis. Now in the root epidermis is what is the function of root epidermis? Absorbing water. Commonly bear long hair-like parts that greatly increase the total absorptive surface area. The epidermis of the roots have thin, long hair, so which will move to a larger distance, and their absorptive area, due to that long length of the epidermis, the water absorption area will increase because more and more part of the root is exposed to soil. So from every part, the water is coming in. Is that clear? It is not coming from the only one end. It is, if this is a hair, so every part there are the holes and water is absorbed from all the parts of the roots. It is not only through the tip of the root is not there one. From every part there are many holes are there. Through that holes the water will enter. So water, the length of the epidermis, if you increase, more amount of holes, more number of holes will be there, which helps in increasing water absorption. So with the help of roots, epidermal cells of the roots, it is get converted into, it will start bearing more long hairs, which increases the absorptive area. Water absorption rate will increase. Clear? So that is third function. This is the third part. Is that clear about this one? Underline this one. This paragraph also you underline it. Again, there is one more thing, this waxy coating of cutin in desert plants. The epidermis has a thick waxy coating. Normally, all epidermis has one layer of wax. But in desert plant, they have a large, thicker waxy coating so that it becomes waterproof. So no water will be lost from that part. So you can see when you aloe vera, you have aloe vera in your house, maybe it is mostly present in all the houses.
Yes, ma'am.
So aloe vera, if you with the help of a knife on the other side, which is not able to cut part, the opposite side which you are not using it to cut, if you start dragging it out, you will see the waxy coating over it. A large amount of waxy coating is present on that. So that will help them in preventing water loss. So amount of water will not move out because they need more water as they have to store water. The water should not move out as compared to any other plants. Other plants, they take in water and again more amount of water will be given out. But in case of desert plants, their input is not there. They are getting very less amount of water. So the water loss should be prevented in desert plants, and for that thing, these are the some modification has been done. One thing that modification is the outer double covering, the thick covering of waxy layer, which is actually cutin, waxy layer of cutin. This word you have to remember. Waxy coating of cutin. Okay. It is a chemical. What is cutin? Cutin is a chemical substance with waterproof quality. So it has a waterproof quality. It will not allow the water to keep in or inside water will not move out of it. On its outer surface, can we think the reason of this? That is, write down here, prevention of water loss. Okay. So one more modification is there in desert plant. Can you tell what? To prevent the water loss, one more modification is there. What is that?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes, Sada.
Ma'am, this either the size of leaves is too small or there are no leaves.
Okay. Right. That is also right. As well as the leaves, generally they don't have leaves, but they have the thorn-like leaves. Cuticles are present on that body. So due to the presence of cuticles, water loss is prevented. Cuticles, that is a thorn-like structures. If you see the cactus, if you touch cactus, it's something prickled. So that prickling because of the thorns. So most of the desert plants have these thorns. The aloe vera also, if you side edges, if you see there are the thorns are present. While touching, you can touch those. Those are thorn-like structures. Those are we call as cuticles. So leaves are modified into cuticles to prevent water loss. Okay, so these are the changes in desert plants. And this is epidermis changes. Epidermis. This is all about epidermis part. Is that clear about epidermis now?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone has doubt till this part? Harshini, is that clear? Harshini, Vishal, Tatin, your videos are not on. And Rachel. Okay. Now about cork cells. As plants grow older, the outer protective tissue undergoes certain changes. That means epidermis undergoes certain changes. A strip of secondary meristem located in the cortex forms layer of cell which constitutes the cork. So here cork formation. Epidermis undergoes, here outer protective layer means what? Epidermis. These undergo certain changes. A strip of secondary meristem located in the cortex forms layers of cell which constitute the cork. That means the first meristematic cells will, the outer covering over the epidermis, one more outer covering is formed and that get converted into cork.
Ma'am?
The brown protective cover of the trees is the cork. Yes.
What is cortex?
The outer layer.
Epidermis and cortex is same.
Same, yeah. The cells of cork are dead and compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. Epidermis is living tissue. But when it gets converted into cork, after certain changes, means 2-3 layers have been formed over the epidermis, and then finally it gets die, it completely dies, and that is we call as cork cells. So cork cells are dead cells completely, and they are compactly arranged. That means there is no intercellular space is present, because this tissue's function is the protection. That's it. The main function of these tissues is the protecting the entire plant. Okay, so these cork cells are dead, compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. They also have substance called suberin in their walls that makes them impervious to gases and water. So they won't allow any gases or any water to move in and out, because they have the coating called as suberin. Suberin coating they have. So this is one of the complex sugar. So due to which they will become impervious to gases and water. So remember suberin and cutin coatings. Cutin, epidermis has a waxy coating called cutin, and the cork cell has a coating called suberin. Okay. Now that is about cork cells. That's done about the cork cells. Only this much thing is given about the cork cells. Is that clear? So epidermis finally gets converted after some years. The epidermis, you can see that when you plant a rose plant initially, it is same as green in color. When it starts growing more and more, after 6 months of a time or 1 year of a time, you will see that green color stem has been converted into brown color, and it is, you can see, it is much more stronger as compared to the green one. So that brown one is actually the cork tissue. Okay, and now it is completely dead. The brown color is because that part is completely dead now. Those cells are completely dead and covered with a suberin. And that presence of suberin, it will not allow any gases or water to enter in or move out. Is it clear? Okay. Now next is complex permanent tissue. So cork and epidermis also will be considered under simple permanent tissues. Then complex permanent tissues. So it is xylem and phloem, you have to remember. Why these are called complex permanent tissues? What is the main difference between simple and complex permanent tissues?
And they have different types of cells.
Simple permanent tissues have
Maximum same type of cell.
same type of a cell. Maximum similar type of cells are present, which all of them are performing same function. But in case of complex permanent tissues, although all of them completing a one simple task, but everyone's function is different. The structure are different from each other, as well as their functions are also different from each other, but all together, all of them combining and performing one particular function. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Just like a school. In the school, you can consider a one single class. If you see, all the students are there, they are learning in one class. So all of them, if a class of science is going on, you are all learning science only. when the maths class is there, you are learning maths only. So what is the function you are performing? Studying maths or studying science. One single class when we are considering. But we you consider as a class of 9 of the school, full class of 9th when you compare. All of them are performing the same function. Studying is the same function. All of them at a time studying the same subject. Everyone are studying only, but all are studying the same subjects at a time.
No.
No, they are doing the different thing, but all together what they are doing, a single function they are performing, that is studying. Class 9 students are learning one single subject. One class is studying one single subject. So you can take the example of one simple tissues, simple permanent tissues. But complex permanent tissues, 4 to 5 different types of cells are there. All of them, actual their function is different from each other, but all together they are completing one single task. Or you can take an example of completing a project in one group. All of you are completing one task, that is completing one particular project, right? But all of you are doing the same function. 5 students group is there, and it was told to create one model of any science project. Is it possible that is you are performing a task of completing that project model of a one particular science project? You are doing it. Is it possible that is everyone will do one only single thing?
No.
No, ma'am.
No. What you're doing, one is collecting some this model. First intellectual work is done, which work has to be done, what model has to be performed. We have to this will make. Second one will start collecting the material for that. Third one will start doing that one work properly. So one is doing one cardboard, one is cutting the cardboard, another one is sticking those cardboard. Third one is painting the cardboard. Then again, everyone are doing the same function, that is performing that's creating a model. But all of them have been, you have divided the work. So that is everyone will get involved, and as well as all together everyone will be involved and everyone are completing their work, but all of them are not doing the same work. One is cutting, another one is pasting, third one is painting, fourth one is dimension measurements are there, fifth one is working on the particular machine is working properly or not, that is checking, and maybe the sixth one is there, he is writing the things, maybe that for the project, to present the project what exactly has to be written, that another person is writing that one. So everyone has been allotted the different works, but what is happening at the end of that project, what is the output, final output is coming? What is the final output you are getting at the end?
The
One
project.
completed
Yeah. One
One
project.
single project.
One single project is accomplished. That is the function. This is the same one as a complex permanent tissues function. That complex permanent tissues is made up of 4 to 5 different types of cells. Everyone's function is different. They are not performing the same function. One is doing the protection part, another one is doing the providing nourishment, providing nutrition, one is doing providing the path for the movement. So like that, many different cells have been, they are present together. All of them are performing the same task, that is the main task is same, but separate functions is the division, the function divided into different cells. Able to understand? So that is the xylem and phloem function. Xylem tissues, their main function is the conduction of water and minerals. So xylem tissues' main function is to conduct water, is the main function. Water, and along with water, water-soluble minerals has been transported. So now here the xylem is actually, it is not a single cell, it is made up of many different types of cells. So 4 types of cells are there. First one is, do you remember?
Tracheids.
Tracheids. So here it is given. This is tracheids. These are vessels. And then beside that, there is parenchymatic cells and the fibers, sclerenchyma. The fibers are present, that means sclerenchyma is present. So xylem tissue is made up of 4 types of cells. Yes, Ankita?
Actually, your voice is breaking a lot, so can I rejoin the meeting?
Yeah, fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so xylem is made up of 4 types of cells. One type is xylem, tracheids. Second one is vessels. Third one is parenchyma, xylem parenchyma. And the fourth one is xylem fiber, that is sclerenchyma. It is made up of sclerenchyma. So 4 different functions it is performing. All 4 this cells are performing 4 different functions. Generally in lower plants as you compared as what you call this, pteridophytes and all those we have not learned, non-flowering plants. So some of the plants you will see it is a non-flowering plants are there. We divide the plants into 2 main types. That is, one is flowering plants and another one is non-flowering plants. When you see pine, cycas, or pteridophytes, when you see ferns, have you seen the fern? Have you seen the fern? Ferns in bouquets it is present. Only leaves of the ferns are present in bouquet.
Ma'am, the one we have every time for an experiment in a science textbook,
Yes,
the plant which you get.
yeah, compound leaves it has. That means it is a big, this one you can consider. This is, and here many leaves are present like this. Yeah, so this is the structure of the ferns. Now these leaves, these do not bear flowers. They only have leaves, same like structure. They don't have flowers. They don't bear flowers. Even you see pine or cycas plants in your school. Also, many cycas plants are there. So cycas plants, which are generally found in cold countries, long, tall trees. So those are cycas plants. Pine plants, pine trees are there. So those are non-flowering plants. In those types of plants, the conduction of water is through tracheids. They have tracheids. They don't have vessels. In non-flowering plants, or which we call as a non-complex plants, trees which do not bear flowers, they have tracheids for conduction of water. So they don't have vessels. And in flowering plants, just like a rose, now whatever the plants you see near you which bear flowers, all those plants have vessels. Tracheids are there, but tracheids do not perform a function. Vessels generally perform a function of conduction of water. Okay, so these two just function to produce form the path for movement of water. So these are generally dead cells. This is also tracheid also and vessel also dead. So they only provides the this one path. Pores are there. It is fully a complete pore structure is there. So one to one there is a in between that pores are present, holes are present. The water can easily move through that. So one to one tracheids, one cell of trachea connected to the second cell is connected to the third cell is connected to the fourth cell, like that on so on. So the water, it is a pipeline like structure is formed one over the other. And that way, and in between the first one, if it is a first trachea is present, here there is a hole is present. So on that, it is connected like this. So it will provide a continuous pipeline like structure through which water can easily move upward. Now, how the movement upward possible? Upward movement, how is it possible? We have the tall trees, we have seen 100-meter height also. Some of the top trees are there 100-meter height, 50-meter height, 10-meter height. How is the movement upward direction water get moved?
Is this because the capillary motion, capillary action?
Capillary action can only the water will move till a certain distance. It will not be 10-meter height also, it will not be possible. It is exactly similar to a construction, that is apartment, four floor building. The water is lead, means water, this pipe is lead. Pipe is present on the water. The underground, this one is there. Underground water is there, and you let out means pipes are present in that. Is it possible that is water will move upward by itself?
No, ma'am.
What has to be done?
Motor.
Ma'am, we have to put motor.
We have to put motor. So what is motor is doing there?
It is sucking that
Sucking.
water.
Sucking means what is exactly happening? So let's take another example, a simple example apart from that. Keep a straw over the water or a juice. Will it come by? It will come by itself in your mouth.
No, ma'am.
What has to be done?
Ma'am, we have to pull it.
We have to pull it. We are not actually pulling it. We are actually sucking it. So that is air present in that straw. We will suck out first. So now in that straw there is no air, and you have placed that straw in a water or a juice on which air pressure is more. So that air pressure pushes juice through that straw, because inside the straw air pressure is least, and outside the juice air pressure is more. So the juice will move from higher air pressure to lower air pressure. That's right. So this is we can do by creating the lower air pressure in the straw, and that we can do by sucking air first. In the beginning we have to suck air, and then the water will start, that juice will start pumping continuously. Okay. The same thing here also happens in the tracheids or xylem. Water will move upward by the suction pull is created. We are sucking, something is there which is sucking water, sucking air from that pipe. So which is sucking water? That is transpiration. The transpiration process. So these pipelines has led till leaves. So from the leaves, transpiration takes place. So water will moves out. So in the leaves, now water is not there. That means what? There is a pressure will be in the leaves. When the water moves out, what happens to the pressure inside the leaves?
Will reduce.
It becomes less.
It becomes less or it is reduced when water moves out. So the pressure in the leaves, in that the upper part of the pipe in the leaves, if this pipe is there in the leaves, so here there is no water. So that means the pressure in this area is less, or there is a vacuum is created. Now this vacuum, due to this vacuum, these particles will start moving upwards to fill that gap. To fill this gap, there is no water. So to fill that gap, this water particles will start moving upwards. So this way, water will move upward, and that suction pull is created by transpiration process. So amount of water will move outside. That part of the water will be taken place by the water present in the xylem at the lower portion. At the lower end of the tree, the water is present, will start coming upward because it is sucked upward. Because at the top end, that means near the leaves, water pressure is less. And at the bottom level, the water pressure is more. So therefore, water will move from higher pressure to lower pressure. So transpiration itself helps in movement of water in upward direction, and through which this movement is possible? Through the pipeline, which we call as xylem. And that xylem's function is to conduction of water with the help of tracheids and vessels. These are the main components which perform this function. Now then, what are the functions of remaining two? That is xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers' main function. Now these cells needs a nutrition and protective covering over those. These are the vessels. So vessels, some of the parts are living, beside that, providing the protection to that one, providing the nutrition, absorbing nutrition part is performed by parenchyma. And then fiber, that is a sclerenchyma, dead tissues again, will provide protection against the bacteria, microorganisms, or even loss of water through that layer will be prevented. So water only will move upward, it won't go sideways due to the covering of parenchyma and sclerenchyma. Clear? Are you able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
And then this one, out of these 4 cells, trachea, vessels, parenchyma, and fiber, only parenchyma is living tissue, living cell, and the remaining ones are dead. So therefore, xylem is considered as mostly dead tissue. Don't write it as dead tissue, it is mostly dead tissue.
So basically, the tracheids and vessels
Perform the main
means
function.
give a passage to pass through a
Yeah.
pipe. Parenchyma provides nutrition, and the sclerenchyma provides strength.
Yes, exactly. Now here question very commonly asked, the question on this part is difference between xylem and phloem. So first we will see the xylem part is done. Now what is the function of phloem? So phloem also, it is a tissue, helps in translocation process. Translocation means water soluble components of the food, that is now leaves prepare food by photosynthesis process. So that food will be transported to each and every cell, each and different parts of the plant. Every part of the plant is not preparing food. Only leaves are preparing food. So the food from the leaf now has to be transported to different parts. It should go to the shoot also, upwards, and it has to go towards the root also. So this movement of the water soluble food from leaves to different parts of the plant is done with the help of another vessel called as phloem. So phloem transports products of photosynthesis. So whatever the thing is produced in the photosynthesis, that is transmitted with the help of phloem. Now phloem's main function is movement of this water soluble components, food actually, food movement. It is also made up of 4 cells, 4 different types of cells. One is sieve tube, the main part. Second one is companion cell. Companion is helps. It is again a friend. Sieve tube's friend is companion cell, which also helps in the same process. Third one is parenchyma, which is common to xylem and phloem both. Parenchyma cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fiber. The main function of transportation, providing the channel, providing the passage, is with the help of sieve tubes. Sideways movement is done with the help of companion cells. Then the parenchymas provide nutrition, stores food, so provide nutrition. And the fibers' main function is the same, providing strength, protecting against any other accident, that is a infection, movement of water that will be prevented due to presence of fiber. It's clear? The pipeline is formed due to sieve tubes. Conduction, upward, downward conduction is through sieve tube. Sideway conduction will happen due to with the help of companion cells. Then parenchyma provides nutrition and fiber provides strength. It's clear? 4 components. Both xylem and phloem are made up of 4 components. Trachea and vessels are in xylem, and phloem has sieve tubes and companion cells. And remaining 2 are same, parenchymas and fibers. Both are same in both of them. Is it clear? Now, what is the difference between these two? Main point by point, we need to know the difference between those two. So first one, both is you have to write the function. Xylem function, Function of xylem?
Transporting water from roots to other parts of the plant.
Yes, transportation of water to leaves. Directly it will go to leaves. Okay. And then phloem's function, and not only water, water and minerals. Water and mineral, it is taken up from the soil and it is transported, right? Then what is the function of phloem?
Transportation of food from leaves to all parts of the plant.
Yes, right. Transportation of food from leaves to all parts of the plant. Okay, that is a main function. Second function, xylem. In the xylem, the substance moves only in one direction. That is from roots to leaves. Only one direction conduction. It won't happen that from leaves to downwards it will go again back. No, it is only in one direction. And in phloem, the movement is downwards also and upwards also. Okay, so in phloem, the transportation is bidirectional. In xylem, transportation is unidirectional, and in phloem, transportation is bidirectional, upwards as well as downwards. Right? Third point, xylem tissue is mostly dead tissue because most of the components are dead. And in phloem, most of the components are living. Only fiber is dead. Sieve tubes, companion cells, and parenchyma. These three parts are living tissues. Only fiber is dead tissue. So therefore, third point you can mention as xylem is mostly dead tissue and phloem is mostly living tissue. Clear? And then the fourth part, what is the fourth point? You can write its components, you can write. The xylem consists of tracheids, vessels, parenchyma, and fibers. And phloem consists of sieve tube, companion cells, then it is parenchyma and fiber.
Ma'am, there's one more point.
Yeah.
Ma'am, the number of xylem in plant is more and phloem is less.
Okay, you can consider that one also, number of phloem, but that is, yeah, fine. But that you can write as a secondary if it is as per more marks.
Okay.
Yeah. So here it is written, you can underline xylem consists of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers. Tracheids and vessels have thick walls and many are dead cells when mature. Tracheids and vessels are tubular structures. This allows them to transport water and minerals vertically. The parenchyma stores food, so function of different four parts. So the function of tracheids and vessels is to transport water and minerals vertically, and parenchyma stores food. And what is the function of fiber? Fiber are mainly supportive in function. Support. They provide the protection and the supporting. They have to stand still, stand erect. So the protective layer is needed. Supportive layer is needed over these vessels. So for that, the fibers are helping in that function. Okay. Already sir has taught you all this. He has shown you also proper diagram. Then phloem is made up of 5 types of cells. 5 types of cells. Sieve cells, sieve tube, companion cells, phloem fiber, and phloem parenchyma. Now they have included these two together. Earlier it was both of them have been considered together. Now they have separated here now in the new book. Sieve cell, sieve just like our this one, sieve net. The movement is downwards. So it is that sieve which we are using for draining tea, coffee. So that net like structure. So that is sieve. So sieve cells. The same thing here is the sieve cells. Sieve cells are That net-like structure, this one, that's holes are present in that. So due to presence of pores, hole, the movement is done. Okay. So it is sieve cells, sieve tubes, companion cells. Sideway conduction is due to companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchymas. Okay. Sieve tubes are tubular cells with perforated walls. Perforated, that means having pores on its wall. Phloem transports food from leaves to other parts of the plant. Function of phloem. Except phloem fiber, other phloem cells are living cells. So therefore, it is mostly living tissue. This diagram you have to remember. This diagram you have to remember with these names. Sieve plate, that is a sieve-like structures. So that one cell to another cell connections. This is sieve plate. This is sieve tube. This tube is called a sieve tube. This is parenchyma. At the end, there are the parenchyma cells are there, and these are companion cells which are helping it out. So it is sideways conduction is happening due to companion cells. Upward or downward movement is due to sieve tube. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
This is all about plant tissues. Clear? Plant tissues. Now almost clear. 2 times you already have learned. Is this clear or still any doubts are there till this part? No doubts? Everything clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then now it is animal tissues. Animal tissues is somewhat complicated to understand, but yes, you have to learn it. Epithelial, connective tissues. In animal tissues, you have to learn mostly the epithelial tissue, that is outer covering. Connective tissues, the connections. Different connections have been done different between different body parts. Has been connection is done with the help of connective tissues. Then muscle tissues and nerve cells. Neurons or nerve tissues you have to learn. So there are 4 types of them. But inside that, there is again bifurcation. Epithelial tissues, 4 to 5 types of epithelial tissues are present. Connective tissues, 6 types of connective tissues you have to learn. Muscular tissues, 3 types of a muscular tissues, and always asked question of 3 marks muscular tissues. Differentiate between the different types of muscular tissues uh, according to location, function, and structure. This question is a permanent question of every exam. And with diagram, that diagram of muscle tissues you have to draw. Here in plant tissues, you have to draw only the diagram of meristematic cells, tissues, and simple permanent tissues. That's it. No any other diagram. You're not supposed to draw any epidermal cells or this one, the xylem and phloem. So phloem, if it is asked, labeling part they will ask. Okay.
Ma'am, in a plant cell, we have to draw stem, section of stem.
No,
Okay.
they won't ask you. Only simple permanent tissues, that is parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma tissues, and meristematic tissues. Only this much is asked. But you learn phloem also, because sometimes phloem also they, if their mind change, then they can ask also. So you should be ready for phloem tissues. Clear? Now in animal tissues,
Ma'am, simple plant tissue, there is no diagram.
it's given parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. They have given textbook. Learn, check. Parenchyma, loosely connected cells. Then collenchyma, thickened walls at the edge. At the corners, there is a thickened corners are there. And sclerenchyma, thread-like structures. It is given, no? This one, here, this part. Other schools, they have asked the example of this stomata also. They have asked the diagram of stomata also. Epithelial tissues. I'm not doing that one, that different part. This is the explanation is given. This part is only the explanation. So actually it starts from this part, epithelial tissues. The covering or protective tissue in the animal body are epithelial tissues. The outer covering of every organ or even our body, the skin, is made up of epithelial tissues. The covering or protective tissue in the animal body are epithelial tissues. Epithelium covers most organs and cavities within the body. Cavities are those holes in which organs are placed. Chest cavity. You have heard the word chest cavity, abdominal cavity. Have you heard these words? You have used also these. So cavity means a hole, a space in which organs are present. So the lining of most of the organs and the cavities within the body are made up of epithelium. It also forms barrier to keep different body systems separate. Now you have seen in this one, what you call in chest cavity, the heart is also present and the lungs are also present at the same position. In between the lungs, the front side of the left lung, there is a heart. Now the separation between these two organs is done with the help of epithelium tissue. Epithelium, that is epithelial tissue. Even the skin, our skin, outer covering of the skin, that is skin. The lining of the mouth, inner lining of the mouth, you can see. The lining of blood vessels, so that is arteries, veins are there. The outer covering of that vessels. Lungs, inside the lungs, alveoli are present. In the kidney tubules, so that means in the kidneys, tubes are present. The outer covering of that tubes, all are made up of epithelial tissues. Are you able to understand what is epithelial? Epithelial, that means which covers the organs. The organs are made up of some cells. So those cells are actually the epithelial cells. Our skin is made up of some cells. So which type of cells are those? Epithelial tissue. It's clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Epithelial tissues. In epithelial tissues, the cells are tightly packed and form a continuous sheet. They have only a small amount of cementing material between them. So in between them, there is material which cementing, that means which connect them, bind them together. Is very less amount is present between them. Almost no intercellular spaces. Obviously, anything entering or leaving the body must cross at least one layer of the epithelium. So whatever the thing is coming in of inside the body or moving out of the body, it has to pass through at least one layer of epithelium cells every time. As a result, permeability of the cells of various epithelia plays an important role. Now, some of them are selectively permeable, some of them are completely permeable because they have to allow the substances has to pass through these layers. So which substances has to pass through, which substances has not to pass through, for that different layered epitheliums are present. In regulating the exchange of materials between the cells of, permeability of the cells, important role in regulating the exchange of materials. So regardless of the types, all epithelium are usually separated from the underlying tissues by an intercellular fibrous basement membrane. So you can see here, this is one of the epithelial tissues. In that, different layers of this epithelial tissues are separated by one basement membrane. So there is a one membrane is present, a thick membrane is present, which separates every cells, every one layer of cells from the second layer. Is it clear? So every tissues have the base. So you can see here, this is basement. This blue color shade you can see. So this is a one layer of epithelial tissue. This is the blue one. You can see this is as basement, and these are the different types of cells. So this type of epithelial is called as squamous epithelium. This is stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium is this, and this is present in our skin. Now this is cuboidal. You can see the difference between this and this. What is the difference you are able to see? What difference you can see here and here?
Cuboidal is like boxes.
Cuboidal cells are basement membrane is present, and after that you can see there is a irregular shaped structure, any shape, but here it is a cube-like shape. So this is the cubes are present over it. So therefore these are called cuboidal. One more type is there cylindrical, columnar we call it as. It is a cylindrical structure. So column-like structures are present. Their height is greater than the breadth area. The base area and the height is always more than the base area. So this type of a tissues are called as columnar epithelial tissues or ciliated, and the second one is ciliated. Over the columnar tissues, if there is a thread-like structures are present, that is a cilia is present, then those epithelial tissues are called as columnar ciliated epithelium. Ciliated columnar epithelial tissues. Now, why their structure differs depending on where they are present and what function they have to perform. According to that, this structure has been created, and only we are learning it. We are not why this is so. We only will know to know that these are there because they have to perform one particular function. Due to presence of cilia, that means a hair-like structures over this area, they are helps in transportation. The transportation can be done easily. So therefore, wherever the transportation is needed, there are these columnar ciliated tissues are present. Clear? Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we'll study this part next because already it is 4:10 now. So we will do this one further. Here you have to remember only the different types of tissues where they are present. That part you have to remember. That is important. Okay, so I will explain in next class. It is given in this one. Fine. So we will start now. Maths.